Welcome to our podcast, Fuck the Diet Cycle, with myself, Lauren Knight, and Abby Lodge. This podcast is for you if you're ready to end the diet cycle. So grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's jump straight into this week's episode. Let's jump straight in and talk about why the scales do not define us. We are going to share other ways that you can measure your success on your weight loss journey.
Those damn scales, they get absolutely everybody. Regardless of where you are on a weight loss journey, nobody is ever happy with stepping on those scales because people feel like they define you as a person. I'm here to tell you that you do not walk around with a scale on your head and introduce yourself and say, "Hi, I'm Abby Lodge and I weigh X amount." Those scales, naturally, of course, we want them to come down. And they will come down if you are sticking to whatever regime that you are doing, but they are not your only tool to measure your success. There are so many other ways for us to determine how well we are getting on whatever weight loss journey we are doing. So if those scales are really, really playing with your head, because they play with a lot of people's head and they can lead to self-sabotage, those serial weighers who get on those scales every day, and if it hasn't moved or gone up a pound or whatever, they then use that as an excuse to then go and overeat or potentially restrict themselves afterwards if they have gained when they haven't truly gained. Other ways that we can use other tools to measure our success, your measurements do not lie. So, taking those measurements at the beginning of your journey and every 4 weeks, or if you are having a moment with those scales, a couple of weeks in, get out your tape measure again and measure yourself, because you will be so surprised of the inch loss that is happening when those scales aren't potentially moving.
Yeah, absolutely. And also trying on clothes. So having something at the beginning of your journey that you really want to get into. Obviously, it's not going to fit you straight away, but by trying that on every 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to see that that button gets closer or that zip goes up higher, and that's going to motivate you. Again, your clothes don't automatically get bigger. It must mean that you are getting smaller. And like Abby just touched base, you're not going to walk into a room and announce how much you weigh, but you will walk into a room feeling confident and amazing in your own skin based upon how you feel in your own clothing and what is going on with your measurements. So those scales are just one piece of the puzzle. What else can they do, Abby?
Taking photos, and for this one is one that is very, very scary, because if you have ever had a weight problem, you will know that you will hide from that camera. You will do everything in your power to escape that camera, whether that be you hide behind a plant pot or hide behind your children or your husband or whatever it is, you will hide. But actually taking those photos at the beginning of your journey, all angles, and saving them into an album on your phone. You don't have to look back at them and share them with the world if you don't want to. That's absolutely fine. And regularly taking them every 4 weeks to see the physical changes, because unfortunately our brain's job is to protect us, and obviously we want it to protect us, but it's always going to protect us to think that we can't see those changes, because it does take a while to catch up and actually see those changes in the mirror. But if you are taking those regular photos, you'll be able to look back and see, oh, wow, okay, so maybe the scales haven't done what I really wanted them to do, but look how much my face has changed, for example, or look how much, I'm getting a waist now, and things like that. That really helps to motivate you, because you will then start to not hide from that camera and enjoy being in front of the camera when the camera does come out. So always taking those photos alongside with your measurements at the beginning of your journey and regularly throughout your journey is what's going to really, really help to keep you motivated, and forget about those scales.
And also you've got the complete non-scale victories that can't necessarily be measured by photo or what you're wearing, but you will start feeling it in yourself. So for me, one of the biggest things that happened was that I could actually run up the stairs, run being one, but actually go up those stairs and not have a round of applause for my thighs afterwards because they were still bashing each other. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, it's quite sad that I don't get a round of applause for going up and down the stairs, but it just shows how far I've come and the fact that my thighs no longer feel the need to do that. It's those things that you can start looking out for. How many steps do you have to lift your leg to have to paint your toenails? Or can you now just reach them without needing to put them up near your shoulders? It's things like that that we forget that we have to do when we're losing the weight, because you just start doing it. So look out for those things, because they do make such a difference. And we can laugh about it now, but when we were at our biggest, these things were our reality. And again, we act like it's normal, and it's not normal to have things like that happen. So when they disappear, they are huge, and you need to celebrate those.
Absolutely. And touching on those non-scale victories, one of my biggest ones was actually being able to fit in a child's slide with my kids and go down the slide, because before I've got stuck, and it's very embarrassing if you are trying to go down the slide as an overweight person, and there's, you know, not just kids around, but there's mums around, there's dads around, and there you are shimmying yourself down, trying to act like you're not completely stuck, having a panic attack because, oh my God, I'm stuck. I'm going to need the fire brigade to come and grease me out. But actually getting on that slide, and I remember when Lenny first said to me, can you come down this slide with me, after I'd lost a substantial amount of weight? And I was like, still kind of walking up them steps to the slide thinking, shit, I'm going to get stuck. Like, because my brain hadn't caught up. And then I went down it, and it was the most amazing, freeing feeling, thinking I can now do that with my children and not be that one that's kind of got to sit there and hold the coats, or no, I just film you kind of thing. No, I was like to my husband, like, you can film me. Can you film me going down this slide? Because I need to document this. And he was like, why? Like, you're in your 30s. What's so good about going down? I was like, because I haven't been able to do that. And actually celebrating these things. But one thing to remember is, as food addicts, and when you have got a problem with food, when these amazing things happen, your first natural instinct is to reward yourself with food. You're not a dog. You do not need food as a reward. So setting out at the beginning of your journey of ways that you are going to reward yourself away from food and make you feel good. Could be something like self-care, painting your nails, getting your lashes done, something like that. For me, I used to do a lot of Lego. That helped me keep me busy, but I used to enjoy doing it. Or, you know, buying a new pair of shoes. I know for you, Lauren, you were shoes, and actually having things that are going to help you to feel good, because food doesn't make you feel good if you are using it for that reason. So always remember that we are not treating ourselves with food. If I look back to my other weight loss plans that I did, I would go and get weighed, and then I'd stop off at the fish and chip shop because I'd lost half a pound and I got a round of applause. And that's great. You know, you've lost half a pound, which is good. But then if you go and eat fish and chips afterwards, where's the logic in that?
Yeah, exactly that. And it's knowing that about yourself and putting that in place, but celebrating every single step of the way. And it could be that you pop like little stones into a jar. So every pound that you are losing, they go into a jar. But also every small non-scale victory that you notice also gets you a stone in that jar, because those things do add up, and those things mean so much more, like being able to go down the slide with your children. Who doesn't want to experience that happiness? That cannot be defined by a number on the scale. And let's just think about this scenario. That day, Abby's going to the park, and Abby steps on the scales in the morning and she's gained a pound. For whatever reason, it could be that she ate a bit too much sodium the night before. Maybe she's drunk extra water, or she might not have been a loo yet. You know, yeah. Who does weigh pounds as well, right? So she steps on. She's gained that pound, and instantly, if she was addicted to those scales and she allowed them to define her, she'd be like, great, I'm fat, I've not been able to do this, I can't go out to the park. And she would be in that negative mindset of, Can't do anything. She wouldn't have even attempted to have gone on the scales because her inner voice was telling her that she was too big, all because she's allowing that number on the scales to define her. But instead, Abby didn't weigh that morning. She went to the park with her husband and children and had a fantastic time and slid down that side multiple times, not for her son. It was all for her in her 30s, sliding down the slide and feeling amazing and not self-conscious because she didn't let the scales define her. So get off of those scales. Once a week is plenty. And even then, when you have all of these other things in place, it becomes just one tiny little piece, and we are no longer held back by what those blooming numbers say.
No, they are a drop in the ocean in comparison to your everyday life. So hope you found this.
Go on.
Hope you found these tools and tricks and listening to a bit about my craziness down the slide and having fun helpful. But please, guys, please step away from those scales. Even if once a week is triggering you, do every 2 weeks, maybe even a month, but be measuring everything else around you to measure that success.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media using the links below. And don't forget, new episodes come out every single Sunday.